I'm on East Patrick Street, 24 East Patrick Street at Vintage MC with Mindy, the owner of this wonderful store. I talked to you a while ago. I think it was maybe a couple years ago.
I think
right?
so.
So I think you guys had just, it was kind of like your first couple years. So how long have you guys been here?
Well, we were on Carroll Street before
Right,
that.
you
So
were- that's
we
right.
originally started in Cannon Hill Antiques 10 years ago this year.
Oh my gosh.
And then we opened our own shop on Carroll Street next door to
Right.
Cannon Hill 7 years ago.
Wow.
This summer, yeah. And then we've been in this space for 3 years now.
I think that when I talked to you, guys were getting ready to move.
That
to this
sounds
spot.
right. That
yes,
sounds right.
That is
Yes.
exactly right. So tell everyone, you have a very eclectic mix of amazing finds.
Thank
I
you.
know you focus or enjoy the mid-century modern
Right.
stylings.
Yes.
And when you walk in here, that's exactly what you feel.
That's what hits you right
It
in
does.
the face
It
when
hits
you walk
you
in.
in the
a good
best
way,
way.
hopefully.
In the
Yes,
best way
yes,
possible.
Thank you.
And also, I think the disco balls add kind of an Easter egg hunt
There you
throughout.
go. There you
gotta
go. That kind of little
keep looking
70s,
throughout.
although disco balls actually are over 100 years old originally, so they had a
yes.
resurgence in the 70s, and they're big again now.
Never out of
so
style.
You can never not have
No,
enough sparkle.
can
so.
never have too much sparkle. Tell me where your love for this era started.
So to be completely honest, I think it actually started with IKEA furniture in college, because a lot of what IKEA sells has its roots in mid-century modern and Danish modern furniture. So I've always loved that clean look. And that's kind of, it's always something I've been drawn to. The way we got into this business in particular is we had a house up on Mount Olivet Boulevard here in Frederick.
Yeah.
A 1940s post-war little Cape Cod, or little rancher rather, and we needed furniture, and I couldn't find mid-century modern furniture here in Frederick. This was now 12 years ago, probably 11 years ago. And I ended up going to DC suburbs to buy stuff. And I had so many people say, oh, while you're looking, if you see a chair or a lamp or a dresser, and other people wanted mid-century modern, and it wasn't here too much. So that was, it sort of set the idea in my head, and a year or so later I opened a booth doing mid-century modern to test the waters, and it was a big hit, and everybody loved it, and nobody else was doing it at the time. Those were the good old days. So I got a really big following really quickly from Frederick and from DC and Baltimore, and people that were looking for that kind of thing. So I got in at a good time on mid-century modern. It was easy to find and plentiful, because people were getting rid of it, didn't realize that it was desirable. So.
Yes.
So that's kind of how I got into the business of doing it. Yeah.
Okay, so when you source your furniture, how hard is it? Like, do you?
So it was easier before COVID,
right?
In some ways. I would buy at auction. I still do. Buy at auction. I buy at estate sales. I go to yard sales, flea markets. But about half the furniture in here is Danish modern, from the same era, 50s and 60s, vintage Danish, which is also mid-century modern technically, but it's specifically Danish. That we actually buy in Denmark.
Okay.
So we do container loads. I have a couple of vintage dealers there that I work with, and they send me pictures, and I pick out 200 pieces, and they put it in a shipping container, and it comes over on a ship, and it gets here a month later. So we have one actually coming in. That's who I was just on the phone with.
Right.
So that's the biggest, the most unusual thing. Not a lot of people in this area do that.
Right.
The rest we buy a lot of American mid-century at auction, and I have a lot of people reach out to me here at the shop that come in and say, oh, my mother has this, my grandmother had that, it's in my garage. And so anywhere we can find it is the answer.
Yes. Okay. And has there been a piece that you just were like, this is like the quintessential piece that I've had?
Not many. So probably my favorite piece that actually is in my house. I did have it in the store for quite some time at a really high price, so nobody would actually buy it. Don't tell my husband. I have a Paul Cadovius table and chair set that he actually owned, the designer of the Cato wall unit. I don't know if you're familiar with that. But he's a very well-known Danish designer, and I have a round table with 8 chairs that was actually in his design studio in Copenhagen, or in Denmark. So when I bought that from my dealer there that I buy a lot of things from, and she had all the documentation, she bought it directly from his daughter. And I told her at the time, I was like, I don't know that I'm going to put this in the store. And she's like, you should take it home. And I wanted to. And my husband was like, no, you should. So we waited. I actually just maybe 3 months ago.
Oh, wow.
Finally, it was in here for a long time.
Yeah.
And fortunately, nobody
Finally
bought
said,
it.
right, exactly. It's meant to
I'm not
be.
giving it up now. That
No,
one's staying with
meant
me
to
for sure.
What has been the biggest challenge over all these years with having a shop like this in its different iterations?
Gosh, I mean, the challenges have changed over the years for sure. Early on, prior to COVID, it feels like everything is either before COVID or after COVID.
Right.
It was mostly getting my name out.
Right.
When we were on Carroll Street, it was foot traffic. We didn't have foot traffic, so it was a lot of advertising and pulling people in that were looking for us. And then during COVID, it was just managing all of that. But then the supply has become really challenging.
Yeah.
During COVID, a lot more people got into vintage buying and selling. There are a lot of new dealers out there, a lot of people doing it on social media or on Facebook Marketplace, so there's a lot more buyers.
Yes.
And a lot of the auction houses went to online auctions, so anybody can buy. So the prices at auction have gone way up. So that's probably still my biggest challenge is the supply side of things.
Yeah.
And it kind of comes and goes, and we do have a warehouse full that we try to stock up when we find it.
Yeah.
But it's still just keeping up with that is challenging.
I can absolutely imagine. I mean, you see people now that you can't even find those good deals at any thrift stores.
Right.
People have picked over all that sort of stuff, and it's become the big thing.
Right. There are so many buyers for it now too,
yes.
so it helps people when they're trying to sell. They can get more money for it too, which I totally understand that.
Yeah.
So we also do a lot of refinishing. So we will buy furniture that's in kind of rough condition, which a lot of people will stay away from.
Right.
So that helps because that makes, when somebody has a piece that's got 70 years of wear, they might not be able to sell it as easily, but we buy it because we can refinish it, and about 80% of what we have in here has been refinished.
Oh, wow.
So we do a lot of that,
I mean, it's gorgeous.
That's
stuff,
a lot of it. It looks almost brand new because it's
brand
been
new.
redone back to its original condition.
Yeah. If there was kind of one thing you'd want people of Frederick to walk away from this interview knowing about Vintage MC, if there was kind of just one overall thing, what would that be for you?
Wow. I mean, that we're here. I feel like people do know we're here. We're in a great location. So that our selection is constantly changing. We are always finding great new things, new old things.
Right.
And if there's something you love that you've always wanted to find, let us know. We love to hunt for things for people too. And follow us on Instagram and social media so you can see the new things when they come in.
Right. And is that where you post them mostly?
I do. I mean, we have a website, so everything all the furniture does get put on the website, but I usually end up posting on Instagram first just because it's quick and easy.
Yeah.
And so if people follow me on Instagram, they're going to see things when they first pop up. Follow me. Make sure you have it on favorite or whatever so that you see it every time because things do go quickly. So especially really desirable things like dining room sets, and we get them in, I post them, and they're gone the next day. So,
oh my gosh.
So definitely follow us there. And we also do have vintage clothing and vintage glassware and smalls, as well as some fun new pieces that sort of have that same retro vibe.
Yeah.
So.
Moving from, what was the size of your space on South Carroll? I'm trying to remember. Similar?
It was smaller. It was about a little more than half of this. I think we had 1,800 square feet there, and we have 38 something here. So it was about half the size. It was tall. We had tall ceilings, so we had things up on like warehouse racking kind of. It was very much more of a warehouse feel than a shop feel. Concrete floors.
Yeah.
So we packed a lot in there, but we have much more space here. Yeah.
We're about halfway through 2024. Do you have any expectations for how this year is going, or anything that you're hoping to achieve before the finish of this year?
So far, it's been a good year. It's been a little ups and downs. January was really slow, and then February was really great. It's been more of a roller coaster this year than some years, and a little more unpredictable when the busy time is going to come. But I think mid-century modern is still very desirable. I think Frederick, I mean, we are so busy downtown on weekends when especially when the weather's good.
Of course.
That's one thing I would say. Come out when the weather's not great. It's less crowded, and we love to see people on rainy days.
Right.
At least it stopped raining now. That was so far 2024. I'm hoping we're going to see more sun
Yes.
than we've
Yeah,
seen
that's a great
because
one.
something like 16 of the last 20 weekends have been rainy, and that definitely impacts all the downtown
Sure.
businesses. So,
Yeah.
but aside from the weather, we're doing well here.
That's great.
People are looking for this kind of furniture, and they are investing in it. And I think there's so many people moving to Frederick, so there's new home buyers that are looking to furnish. So that's been great for us too. So I think it'll continue to be a great place to have a business, and people here are so supportive. We love downtown Frederick. We live downtown. Wouldn't want to be anywhere else. So.
Yeah, it is a pretty cool place.
For
That's
sure.
why we love it.
Yep.
All right. If you like mid-century modern or just some quirky, interesting things, you can find them here at Vintage MC, 24 East Patrick Street, downtown Frederick. Come say hi. And if you're searching for a specific piece, I bet she can find it.
Happy to hunt for it for
I
you.
love that.
And follow us on Instagram at Vintage MC Frederick, and our website is vintage-mc.com.
Perfect. All right. We'll see you guys next time.